Hello students, welcome back to the video for English 2 for Diploma 3, and for this week, week 2, we're going to discuss about the materials still about technology, and the topic for this week will be about ways into technology. So let us check the material for this week. So as you can see over here, our agenda for today will be about the review, and then we'll discuss about ways into technology. So last week we were discussing about the necessity of timetable, and then how do we present the information in a timetable. We can use two types of tenses, which is present tense and present continuous tense. And for this week, as a review of last week's material, my question over here would be, why do we need timetable? So why do we need timetable for? For this question, I want you to post your answer in our eCourse forum for week 2. Okay, so post your answer for week 2 forum based on this question. Now, our topic for this week is about ways into technology, and as you can see, you are now a student of IT and computer technology, so you are definitely coming to the technology itself. Okay, so in your mind, how do you think people can get into the technology? What I mean is that what are the process in order to know more about the technology. So for this one, I want you to post your answer in our comments in YouTube after you finish watching the video, or either way you can also pause this video and put your answer in the YouTube comment. Okay, so what are the process in order to get into the technology? That will be my question for this warm-up question. Okay, now before we get into our discussion for this week's material, what I want you to do first as a warm-up activity is, I want you to make a sentence. Actually, there are two sentences that you can make from these jumbled words and phrases. They are civil engineering student practice build a blueprint of the building, and the other one, IT students want create useful application. Of course, when you're creating the sentence, some words or some things may be missing from this sentence. So what I want you to do, as you make it into a sentence, I also want you to add a little bit into it, and then later when you're adding it, I want to check what you're actually adding to make this sentence more having more sense to it. Okay, so put it in your notes, and then later in our practicum we're going to discuss this sentence. So as our topic for today is about ways into technology, so then when we are talking about technology, of course we are talking about the process and the product resulted from it. So what are the processes and what are the products resulted from the technology? We're going to check it out one by one. So as you can see here, these are some of the college courses of related to technology, and we did discuss about the branches of technology from last week. So what I want you to do, I want you to make some products, or think of some products that are related to some courses that I mentioned over here. Okay, so there are civil engineering, mechanical engineering, computer, informatics, and etc. And then after that, I want you to look at the important vocabulary for this week, which is apprenticeship, combination program, qualification, vocational, and on-the-job training. For these words, I want you to also look for the meaning in the dictionary, or also in the reading that we have for this week. And for this one, I already put our reading for this week in our campus information system. What I want you to do, as usual, for the reading materials, I want you to read it out loud and record your own audio, and I will later on check your pronunciation in our practicum section. Now here we will discuss about the grammar form of ing and to infinitive. Of course, last week we were discussing about when we were discussing about present tense and present continuous tense. You remember that present continuous tense should add the ing form in the verb. Okay, but for this one, we also have a different meaning of instead of continuous tense in a verb ing. We can also call it as a gerund. Okay, I did mention this in our practicum session last week, but I'm going to explain this for this week. Okay, so for ing or ing form, we use ing form after this preposition. Okay, so this ing form over here, after specific prepositions, where you can see there are prepositions over here, for, or, at, and other, and after certain verbs such as avoid, keep, suggest, enjoy, practice, finish, and stop, those words need to be followed by verb ing. Okay, so for example, for going, avoid seeing, enjoy walking. So all of those words need to be followed by a verb ing form. Okay, so that is the rule for a verb ing form after these particular prepositions and certain verbs. Now, how about to infinitive? Now, for to infinitive, we also use it for certain verbs. For example, avoid, aim, choose, decide, hope, learn, mean, promise, and want. So after these words, for example, I decide to see you, or I want to go. This project aim to prove something. Okay, so after all of these after all of these verbs, it needs to be followed by to infinitive. So to infinitive is followed by verb. Okay, so to followed by verb. That is what we mean by to infinitive. However, with some verbs, we can also use both verb ing form and to infinitive with a little change of meaning. For example, you can say begin crying or begin to cry, continue sleeping or continue to sleep, like seeing or like to see. Okay, so we can always use both ing form and to infinitive, of course with a little change of meaning with these words over here. Okay, so these are some exceptions for the use of verb ing and to infinitive. So what I want you to do now is, after understanding the use of verb ing and to infinitive in a sentence, I want you to practice by doing these exercises. There are five questions over here. Then I want you to do it by yourself. Now for practice 1. As I have asked you to do to read the reading for this week, I want you to go back again to the reading that we discussed, to the reading that you have recorded, that you have read, and I want you to go back and identify the grammar that is used in the text. There are actually 3 texts over there, so I want you to identify the grammar that is used in the text. Okay, so we talk about ing form, and then we also talk about the to infinitive. So have a look over there and decide what grammar is being used over there. Now another thing, as our topic for this week is also about listening. So I want you to have a look at our listening material for this week, which I already uploaded in our campus information system. So what I want you to do first, before you go to that listening, I want you to pay attention to what information being asked when you want to look for specific information. And prior knowledge will also be helpful when you want to listen to a specific information. Let's say, for example, this topic is about, the question was about, something that happens in the swimming pool. Then probably words related to swimming pool will be very helpful to understand this listening material. Okay, so first of all, before you go to that listening recording, I want you to check on the question that is being asked. So let's have a look at the question. So there are 5 questions over here. The first one, what does Jenny's company make? In what stage is Jenny's apprenticeship at? Why is there a lot of paperwork? When does she study? And what are the attractions of becoming a team leader? So what I want you to do is I want you to identify the keyword for before you listen to the recording. Okay, so number 1 is about the company. Okay, so the company of Jenny. And then the second one is what Jenny's apprenticeship at. Okay, the stage of Jenny's apprenticeship. And then the question of why there are a lot of paperwork. And then when does she study? So you're looking for a specific time over there. And then what are the attractions? What makes team leader become more interesting? Okay, so have a look at these keywords first, and then after that, as you listen to the recording later, I want you to pay attention only to this specific information. So later on, when you want to find the answer, you already know what to expect. Okay, so that is some strategy if you want to listen for specific information. So after you play the recording later, I want you to also answer these questions in your practicum book, and then we will discuss it later in our practicum session. Now, as our final activity for this week, what I want you to do is I want you to make one sentence using the vocabulary for today. So we have been discussing about the word apprenticeship. We also discussed some words about college, products and process and everything. So what I want you to do, I want you to make one sentence using the vocabulary. If possible, try to be as creative as you can. Combine all these words into one meaningful sentences by also integrating the grammar that we discussed for today. That will be awesome. Okay, so that will be our final practice for this week, everyone. Okay, so that will bring me to the end of my video for this week, everyone. So next week we will be discussing about digital technology as our topic, and we will also discuss some text and how to interpret the text into a picture, okay, or diagrams. So that would end our meeting for today. Next, this is our reference, so that should be all for our meeting. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the practicum session. Goodbye, everyone.